Breaker, breaker into the black. This is Long Hole Preacher, and I ain't going back. I'm a long hole preacher, and I'm just passing through with a few words of wisdom while we're taking in the view. Howdy again, folks, and I'm taking a step back from being a student until July, aside from the pit stop for a week in Phoenix coming up. So that gives me a little time to do a few more of these and even more fun. A little time to really explore two of the largest current flyers in the game, the Caterpillar and the Starfarer. While looking through these, it occurred to me that y'all might want to see what makes play in Star Citizen different than in most other similar games. Games like EVE Online, Star Trek Online, that sort of thing, they're all based primarily on the idea that you are either the person walking or the ship flying, but nothing else. Even Star Trek Online's ability to walk around inside your ship's bridge and lower decks, it's very generic and has very little to do with the gameplay. And this is where the gang at Cloud Imperium have been in an uphill battle trying to get Squadron 42 going. A while ago, they did a Q&A about the development of their largest ship, the Bengal carrier, specifically for Squadron 42, as one of the key locations for the game. As Scotty mentioned about transwarp beaming in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek remix, these developers had to figure out how to either make everything on board the carrier move with it through space or figure out how to make space move while the carrier stays still. The rest of the universe has to be able to continue on while you are moving through the larger ship. Now, while this is a dangerous bit of fun for those flying an Aurora, stepping back to go to bed only to accidentally hit the outer hatch and get blown out while your ship continues on the Starfarer, the flying gas station, this means you can step out through the airlock onto the back gangway and watch everything fly by. Big ships, however, mean getting to know your ship. It took me a while to get used to finding my way to and from the quarters on the Starfarer to the bridge. There are also crawl spaces, ladders, and more for engineers to work through for repairs. The Caterpillar is more straightforward, but is no less confusing to get around until you get used to it. This is not like the Freelancer, where the bridge goes straight into the quarters area with beds and a small RV shave bleep and shower pods. The Caterpillar is close, having 4 beds right below the bridge, not unlike the design currently expected for the Hull and Vanguard series. Note, though, that they have stated that you must have at least 1 bed per crew member in order to quit out of the game and take the ship with you, so it is not blown up by someone passing by after you have quit. The Cat is also listed as having a max crew of 5, and yet here we are, let's see, 4 beds, 5 crew. Someone miscalculated there or something. Chances are I just haven't found the other bed yet, because that would or should be the captain's quarters. You see, the Starfarer instead has the beds far from the bridge, so behind the bridge instead is a set of escape pods. Just don't try to shave or shower in them. Up in the quarters, however, there is a mess hall separating the crew quarters and the captain's quarters. Here's where I need to complain a little to the developers at CIG. Why is it that you give the captain a huge bathroom section and yet put a shower head right over the toilet? I mean, the bedding's insulting enough, but the shower solution, that needs to change. I do like that everything is in one place, however. 6 crew plus 1 captain, 7 crew. That's right, okay, 7 beds, good. So if you have the maximum given crew for the ship, You will still be able to quit the game, and as long as you aren't quitting in the middle of a combat area, your ship should quit with you the way they are currently developing the game. And yes, the crew quarters come with 2 restrooms, one for him and one for her. Other things they are currently working on with regards to stability that you should give them lots of credit for. If you are standing, things like revving up the quantum drive or diving through a jump point may rock you off your feet, but hopefully won't throw you through the bulkhead. Also means anything that rocks the ship like an explosion or collision may knock you off your feet. That's a great piece of realism. While most families will not likely get this size of ship, some will opt for it, and I will tell you why. Because while mom and dad may quickly find their niche in what they want out of the game, the kids will want to try everything. While the Cat is primarily a cargo hauler, there remains promise on the Wind from CIG that the forward compartments will eventually be customizable for uses in other things. The Starfarer, likewise, is a cargo hauler, a fuel collector and converter, and can eventually also be converted into the troop carrier, the Starfarer Gemini. Other non-capital ships that will have fun deck plans will include the Crucible, the flying repair ship with a max crew of 4, the Explorer Carrack with a max crew of 5, and is expected to include both a small repair facility and a medical bay, the Retaliator with a max crew of 6 and expected modularity and versatility as a military ship. And of course my personal favorite, the Banu Merchantman, with its traveling bazaar style and max crew of 8. The ones we are still not sure of due to lack of expected floor plan are the Reclaimer, salvage ship, max crew of 5, the Orion Miner, max crew of 6, and the Genesis passenger liner, max crew of 8. There's also one other holdout as a non-capital ship, the Endeavour research platform, max crew of 16. Not only do we not have a floor plan of the system ship, the Explorer, let alone the rest of the ship, it has a max crew of 6 more people than the listed max crew of the Idris, one of the first capital ships to come under development. On the other hand, this number on the Idris may change, given that the Javelin's number is now hidden, and the newer and smaller Polaris is a max crew of 24. If you want to run a capital ship or even the Endeavour as a family only, well, it is time to start calling the cousins. Otherwise, expect to either hire on players or non-player computer characters to keep this monstrosity running. And that leaves what the large player organizations are hoping for, the largest ships in the game, the carriers. 2 things you need to know about them, aside from the size alone. First, the Bengal will not be available to anyone flying legally in the UEE, and will only be available, like the other carriers, by capturing one. In fact, that is the note you should take with you regarding any of the carriers, is that if you capture one, you will have a huge target on your fancy new ship until it is either captured or blown to bits by the government you stole it from. The second is that this is one ship that will not, no matter how hard you try, disappear when you log off. So you had best have an organization made up of people all around the world to keep someone on board running things at all times. While it is an amazing thought, I cannot see this as being worth the effort. Just don't bother. Life is too short to get stressed out over keeping hold of any object, let alone a virtual one. Now, speaking of not stressing, a lot of backers are up in arms because the latest 3.0 schedule has come out, namely, they have moved the release date back another month. Now, looking at the changes to the schedule, it is clear that the reason is because one single domino in the development that so much of the development was counting on did not fall correctly. That's what happens when you try to streamline from chaos. This chaos always fights back. Well, they are back on track, but a month behind, and are aiming for the end of July to release 3.0 with a new set of toolboxes that should help a lot. Again, this will include such awesome additions as 3 moons and derelict ships to explore, The new Items 2.0, which will include the ability to move and trade goods day and night from planetary rotation, character customization, and hopefully will include not only the trade and profit, but also the mining via the prospector. Now, there are a lot of people who think that mining will not be in 3.0, just a flying brick of a prospector flying around with no weapons or reason. However, CIG has since removed any mention of any particular career path from the production schedule, leaving it to those of us carefully examining the charts to come to a conclusion. Now, my conclusion is that everything that should make mining work for the prospector, the main elements being some form of scanning, such as the new radar toolbox, and a way to both dig through an object and pick up another object, the new item 2.0, as well as the physics of all of it. I could be wrong, but I cannot see any reason for them to release the prospector without mining. It, frankly makes no sense. Even the Starfarer can at least fire weapons and load cargo with 3.0, even if it cannot do fuel mining. But enough blabbing. That's it for now, folks. Next podcast I hope to get out while I have a small break is going to be on the Finding Summer Freebies, which I was going to do, last month or the month before. I'm already late on for Denver, but hopefully you'll be able to get on some of the freebies still here in the Mile High City. And either another sermon as I practice for the upcoming time in Phoenix, or if you're really lucky, another tall tale. Been meaning to tell a good fish story after all. Now remember to like, comment, or subscribe, or all of the above, and all that on YouTube and or Patreon. Freya would love it if you would help her get her pink dragonfly by using her referral code, and her daddy would be ever so happy and thankful if you could spare $1 a month on Patreon towards this podcast to help with expenses. And we'll see y'all down the road as we go seeking more family fun time. Take care, y'all. God bless.
Long haul to carrier control on approach with parts delivery. JC, is that you? Hey, I thought you were up for retirement. Let's grab some grub after I land.